The whole purpose of this gathering is to try to let people know when you hear that the beach is closed. Well, the beach has never been closed. The sand has always been open. You can go out there, you can play horseshoes, you can sit in your chair, you can read a book, do whatever else. As you know, last Wednesday we had a lot of oil come on the beach. We could go today. But there wasn't much oil from walkover 23 down there, which is near Portofino, to the east, so we left that open for swimming. The main reason we closed the beach or the Gulf for swimming is because the amount of oil you'd have to walk through to get into the Gulf at that time. And then there's been a lot of things on the media. Who decides that the Gulf is not situated for swimming? The health department, Escambia County, issues a notice that says, due to potential health risks, you are advised to avoid contact with the water, no wading, swimming, or entering the water. And that's a public safety. I mean, that's a public health. We don't, they have tests that you can run and get back in about 2 or 3 days. The problem is, I went swimming Saturday morning in the Gulf. It was fine, or Saturday afternoon. A day or two later, I may not want to go in there if there's a lot of oil between the Gulf and myself, or if I see oil floating out there. So the way presently we've been deciding if it's okay to go swimming is that we have a state website we look at called CERT. And they have a flyover in the morning and they have one in the afternoon. And we look at that to see if there's any oil near shore or any mats of oil coming in. Or if there's, and then we send the lifeguards out at 7 o'clock. It takes them about an hour and a half to 2 hours to run our 8.5 miles of beach, come back, give the information to the Public Safety Director, Bob West, who then gets with me, and then we'll decide at that time. I would much rather, now EPA has developed a baseline. They did that a month or so ago. But what are we looking for and what are they looking for? And that's, Bob and I both think this should be done on a health and not on a safety.
Escambia County has 2 islands. We have Santa Rosa Island and Pensacola Beach at Video Key. Pensacola Beach has the luxury of having the island authority here also. So the county's position will be the same on both islands. And Pensacola Beach then, with the Santa Rosa Island Authority, they have special authorities that they have, special powers to issue notices, close beaches, things like that based on safety. We don't have that on Video Key. So the county's level is going to be consistent with both islands. And the thing that frustrates public officials is that right now there is not any science that correlates the presence of hydrocarbons in the water with a dermal contact in a swimming type environment. And that's the real frustrating aspect, is that there's not a nice red flag that pops up with the laboratory analysis that says unhealthy for human dermal contact. So that science is missing there. So in the absence of that, obviously what we all want to do is err on the side of safety. We want it to be safe and healthy for anyone to enter the water. That's the glitch that the health department has faced, is there isn't the science. So they based theirs on visual observation and are now considering additional dermal type considerations when you feel oil but maybe you can't see it. But right now their advisories are based, and notices are based on visual observation sheet, where the kid could not enter the water without coming in contact with the carbol or a sheen or oil in the water. There's a lot of work all the way up through EPA, the county, the state, health department, EPA, other toxic agencies within the federal government that are looking at this science right now, and they are trying to develop a list with triggers of, you have a certain level of parts per billion of a hydrocarbon in the water, that would trigger then a human health effect for, say, a child swimming every day in the summer in the Gulf of Mexico, something like that, so the risk would be based on. But you're talking risk versus aesthetics and perception, and risk is a science-based issue, and that data just doesn't exist right now to correlate risk to the presence of these hydrocarbons in the water. There is data for if you're drinking it, there's data if you're inhaling it in a work-type environment, a commercial environment, or in a recreation environment like this. It just doesn't exist right now, and that's very frustrating to everybody.
We've done as best we can without the information we need to really make a good solid decision. That's what we're telling you. If we had a way of sampling it real time, and we had a real life, what is your health risk, and we could say, look at that, wow, it's 10 parts per million, look at this, while you're above the line, no swimming. We don't have that. And that's our problem. That's our dilemma. It's a public health issue, not a public safety issue. We're doing the best we can from a public safety standpoint to manage it. It's a public health issue.
I just want y'all to understand what we're going through. There is no science that you can put a tube out there and look at it and pour a dye in there and say, oh, shouldn't go swimming. One day we're great. Somebody's going to be a multi-millionaire, but right now it's all visual.